Do I have the permission to record this meeting, Dhananjay?
Yes.
All right. So, welcome everyone to the episode 5 of Uncharted. Episode 4 is still unreleased. So, yeah, Dhananjay doesn't know about that. This episode is going to be very close to my heart because Dhananjay, the guest we have today, is my batchmate, is my trade mate as well. We were both in electronics, and he comes from the same place. I come from Punjab, and there are a lot of stories which we share, a lot of laughters, a lot of fights. No, they should have been there. They're always there in friendships, but yeah. So he has had a very beautifully rich trajectory in his professional growth, academics, personal growth, and celebrating the culture which he has. So we are going to be talking about that. He did his bachelor's from BITS Pilani in electronics, and then he moved on to do some research in IISc in Robert Bosch Institute, and then he moved on to do his master's in Carnegie Mellon University in machine learning, no, electronics and computer science. And then now he works as a machine learning engineer in Motional. So
Mhm.
yeah, we'll know everything in detail. I'll give you the stage to introduce yourself to the audience. Welcome and yeah, मैनू बहुत बहुत ज़्यादा खुशी हो रही है. Just to tell the audience, I'm having him on screen. I'm having like मैं देख रहा after it's like 8 years now. So it's a very special moment for me. Welcome.
Actually, yeah. Thank you so much for the introduction, Abhinav. Um, so to introduce myself, I would say about 3 to 4 things. कुछ ज़्यादा लंबी चौड़ी नहीं खींचनी अपना.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Dhananjai Sharma. People at BITS Pilani used to call me DJ, and I am living in Singapore right now, working at Motional as a machine learning engineer. My role just does not just involve machine learning. It's more of a software engineer role where I work at the cross intersection of machine learning or distributed systems. And apart from that, I like living in Singapore. It's a pretty safe country, and it's a very convenient place to live in if
Mm-hmm.
you consider things like technology. People use technology in a lot of things in their day-to-day life. There are apps for practically almost everything. In that sense, it's similar to India. For example, there is a counterpart of Google Pay and all those things also over here. So yeah, it's a very convenient living lifestyle over here. And apart from that, I like to go on hikes over here. You know my Karam videos.
Yeah.
So that's something that I've started recording recently, but I had been doing that since since quite some time, I would say. I've just been more regular now.
Okay.
So yeah, I would just say that for my introduction.
Nice. Yeah. So let's go step by step so that our audience can know you better. Let's start from your background, the place where you come from, the kind of family, the kind of childhood you had, and then yeah, we can talk about your bachelor's life after that. But to know you better, since it's in.
Sure. So I'm from this town called Malot. It's in the Indian Punjab, and it's about, I think, what, 200 kilometers from your place.
Yeah.
So
But
I had a
he
very
never invited me, guys. He never. So I don't know. Yeah.
well, you were supposed to invite me because I'm from a smaller place than yours.
मैं guys बुला बुला के थक गया, but he has never got the time. But okay, I understand he's been busy with all the great stuff
Yeah,
he's
yeah, yeah.
doing in life. So all good.
Sure.
Yeah, it stays pending. We will surely meet
Yeah,
soon.
sure. Finally, after 8 years, we were able to meet up. That too digitally.
Yeah, sets up the
Anyway.
high tone now. Yeah.
So yeah, I would say that I had a very simple childhood. I, in retrospect, would have never imagined sitting here working and being on the prestigious podcast hosted by Mr. Taneja. So definitely never imagined it. I used to be a child who just used to be enthusiastic about playing in the street every evening, playing cricket or football or anything literally. I could do anything but studying at that point. And yeah, I was very less aware of things also, like why do people do masters or what's computer programming. Those were the things which people who are, let's say, in bigger cities in India, Delhi, Mumbai, they start getting aware of those things as they go into their high school age, like 11th, 12th.
Mm-hmm.
So my childhood was nothing like that, I would say. So very simple childhood. And my parents are were both teachers. Now they're retired. And yeah, to sum it all, I had a very simple upbringing. Desi
Okay.
khana khada.
Nice, nice. But other than studies and playing on the streets, what have been your hobbies during the childhood which you nurtured or spent time in?
Sure. I think it's very convenient to say for me that my hobby was singing. From the age of 10, I remember I was in the fifth class and a new music teacher had joined our school. His name is Kulveer Shant, and he's from Dabawali, the same city where Sunil Grover is from.
Okay.
So, and he joined, and my mom also used to teach in the same school. So
Mm-hmm.
she just asked me to go for singing auditions or lessons. I
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't even say auditions. So
Yeah.
then I think I just picked it up very quickly. It's something that I got good at very soon. And an equal amount of effort was given by the teacher also. So he quickly recruited me and some other students for singing at, some functions in the city and some public appearance basically.
Nice.
So, and then within a year, I went on to competing at national levels. So there
I
was this
didn't know
youth
that.
festival.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have um, participated in a national level competition in Kawali. I was in class sixth. Yes, it was October 2007. I remember.
Wow.
So So first there was this stage in my own city, Malot, and then we went on to Ludhiana, and then we went to Kota, Rajasthan.
Nice.
So so I would say singing was my hobby. And then I also after that I went for a folk song competition in Delhi also. There's a Punjabi Academy in Delhi where I sang the folk song about Mirza. ਜੱਟ ਚੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਮਿਰਜ਼ੇ ਖਾਣ ਨੂੰ ਵੱਡੀ ਭਾਬੀ ਲੈਂਦੀ ਥੰਮ ਵੇ ਮੈਂ
Wow.
ਕਦੇ ਨਾ ਗਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਜੱਟਾ ਕਦੇ ਨਾ ਆਇਓ ਕੰਮ so
Nice.
yeah, to sum it all again, singing was my hobby at that age.
Nice. And then, how did you proceed to your plus one, plus two when we all started preparing for this engineering exams and the race for the IIT thing starts? How was it?
I go towards that. Um, Good question. When I was until my seventh and eighth standard, I just used to study on my own, and I did not go to any tuition also, like regularly, if I remember correctly. And from the eighth standard, I got a good math teacher who did not used to, who actually used to encourage understanding the concepts,
Mm-hmm.
which was something rare at that time. Why I'm saying rare is because people are generally like, oh yeah, just do the questions and just kind of memorize how it's done, let's
Yeah.
say a particular thing. So he was not like that. His name is Manoj Sharma, and then that experience for me got further amplified when I got into my ninth and tenth standards. I got this teacher, his name is Avinash Garg. I think he had the biggest influence on me and paving a path for me in my 11th and 12th standard. Because in the ninth and 10th standard, I started studying science and math from him. And he was one guy who would just teach things from a completely, you know, fundamental perspective.
Mm-hmm.
He would want you to understand things and not just the ones that are there in the book, but also referring to other resources. So, like a very researchy guy in that time.
Nice.
So, and that kind of opened my mind towards learning science and math in depth and not just for um, procuring marks or something, but from a perspective of understanding. So then I just naturally decided to take the non-medical stream, PCM, physics, chemistry, and math
Mm-hmm.
in 11th and 12th standard. So yeah, that's how I got into that.
Okay, and did you do your coaching in Malot itself, or did you join some institute in some other city or what?
I had taken a test by this Vidya Mandir classes. It's based in Delhi mostly, and I had even spent 2-ish months in Delhi, but I didn't like Delhi's lifestyle at that time. And plus, I wasn't even mentally as strong to live by myself. And the whole lifestyle changed just from being at home and being fed, proper Punjabi khana and all,
Yeah.
to just eating this pani wali dal. So
Yeah.
I just couldn't handle that. So after 2-ish months, I just came back, and but luckily they had a remote program at that time, 2012. We are talking about no
Oh,
COVID, nothing. So they were doing that thing at that time, and so they had a center in Bathinda,
okay.
and so I decided to come back to Malot and just go to Bathinda to attend those classes, which
Okay.
were being held remotely, where the teacher used to be in Delhi. And
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, that's how I did my coaching in 11th and 12th.
So the schedule of the classes used to be similar to what was the schedule in Delhi. It was just a telecast setup in Ambala, you said, Bathinda.
Bathinda.
And it the schedule was same. It's not like they have some recorded lecture. You would only go for weekend or stuff. It's the same schedule being followed.
It used to be a live lecture, and
Oh.
it was recorded, yes, but I used to prefer going live, going for the live one.
So you've had your self discipline in place since plus one and plus two, as I understand. ਮੈਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਕੁੱਟ ਕੁੱਟ ਕੇ ਪੜਾਉਣਾ ਪਿਆ ਮੇਰੇ teachers. So yeah, that's a good thing to inculcate in those times. Okay, and then when you gave your tests, you would have some options whether to choose bits or other options which were open. How was that choice? And in terms of college, in terms of the branch or trade you would like to pick, or the city you would want to live,
Hmm.
what did you choose?
Understood. So first the JEE main happened, and
Mhm.
then I think I got decent marks in that, and then JEE advanced. My rank in advanced, my test was not good, definitely. That's why we were in bits.
Yeah.
So there are reasons behind that also, which I keep thinking about now. But anyway, I think the next to next day after that, I took the bit sat.
Mhm.
So, and I got decent marks in that. So just think about, I still remember the date. Our JEE advanced was on, I think, 24th
25.
of May, 25th, yeah, 24th May
Yeah.
of 2014.
Hmm.
So, and then I completely screwed it up, and I was just trying when I came back home. The test was in Bathinda. So, and then 2 days after that, the BITSAT was in Chandigarh. So still I was, grieving from my JEE advanced
Okay.
performance. So my mom still kind of motivated me to go and take the BITSAT. And I did that and got good marks also. I think I got 320, 320, 320, 30 something. I roughly remember that. And there was a guy over there who was kind of um, managing the whole center in Mohali where I took the test.
Mhm.
And when he saw my marks, he was like, "Bete tere inne number aa gaye." So I think, and then that motivated me that okay, fine, things are not as bad as I was thinking. So
Mhm.
one gate got closed and the other gate opened. So one thing then was clear that okay, I'm not going to an IIT for sure because I wouldn't get a good branch or
Mhm.
one of the top IITs. I would go for the BITS Pilani option.
And you didn't even think of any NIT or stuff. So BITS was the unanimous option for you.
I think I did give it a brief, very brief, thought. But the main thing was BITS Pilani, and then for some reason, my parents, especially my mom, was, she encouraged me to go for the Goa campus thing.
Oh, nice. It was your first.
Maybe the reason was something around sending me away from, अपना
Mhm.
North Indian belt, where I think पढ़ने वाले बच्चियां दी थोड़ी कमी हो रही थी.
कह दिता ਇਹਨੇ ਕਹਿਤਾ yeah, that's true.
So
Mm.
थोड़ा गेड़ी culture वगैरह and all those things, and just actually being, going for that. I think, yeah, that was the main driving factor behind that decision.
Okay. In my case, it was like don't lock the you remember, right? Before the fifth iteration, you have to lock the campus. So
Yes.
my parents were like, "Don't lock the campus. We want you to take MSc Bio." I had those much marks in Pilani campus. I was like, "Huh, sure." And I went inside. I locked the campus. I was like, "I didn't lock the campus." Then I got to Goa campus. And then yeah, it started those 4 beautiful years. But yeah, in my parents thought I was not that mature. Still, I'm not to be sent away. They wanted me to. Okay. And then about electrical, like why electrical? Did you think about some other branches? For example, can I take mechanical as well, or it was very simple that okay, I have
Mhm.
interested in this one only.
Good question. The trajectory behind that decision was first mechanical. For some reason, I think I was also one of the kids inspired by the Amir Khan in Three Idiots
Physics.
to
Oh, and I was okay. Okay, the engineer.
mechanical.
Okay.
He was
Yeah.
in mechanical, right? So to go for that, and the moment I took BitSat and was coming back to my parents in somewhere in Mohali, Chandigarh area only, we were in cab, yeah. So then I asked my teacher, called him, and then he kind of said it in a way that, okay, huh, you have this many marks, so you'll get computer science over there. That kind of triggered this notion about computer science being an elite branch over other things. And my innocent self at that time also took it in a way where I kind of realized that I was not even sure about why I was going to for mechanical in the first place, because his statement changed my mind, flipped my mind so easily.
Mm-hmm.
So then my mind also started going towards this computer science wala notion.
Mm-hmm.
But with the marks that I had achieved, the previous year I could have attained computer science.
Yeah.
In the following year, the current year where we
Cut
took
off
it,
jump. Yeah.
exactly. So then I had to just settle for triple E, electrical and electronics.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the story behind it.
Okay. Now talking about the bachelor's life, I remember after first semester, yeah, it was not the first year. We had CGPAs out, and both of us did not score very well. The only difference was this that was probably your lowest CGPA and mine highest. I even went downwards. But yeah, that says a lot that it has not been all flowery path. That okay, you went there and Jandai, you started scoring good marks and everything was in place. There was a phase of figuring things out and putting them in place.
Mhm.
So, how are the challenges when your bachelor's life start in terms of academics, or you can also talk about personal challenges or managing time, and then how you like went upwards from that.
Understood. Before I start, I would just say that when I got my first ever CGPA in December, and it was 5 point something, I had read the novel Chetan Bhagat's 5 point someone also. And then it just made me think that, okay, I am that
Idiots
person
वाली
now.
trajectory है. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So there was a mixed feeling of where I was 30% proud and 70% felt like a failure. So, but I think you said it correctly that there was this new new culture over there and managing time, all those things. I think I still lack them a lot. I'm not good at managing my time. Still learning, but
I can vouch for against your statement. No, 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 DJ. Okay, okay.
so there's a constant learning curve of that, I think. But at that time, I still remember when I had reached BITS. It was raining over there at that time, July end. And then the study started. I was very clueless as to why I'm doing all these things. What are these people going for every day towards the B Dome?
Mm-hmm.
They were going for all those auditions for different clubs and departments. I just didn't understand all those things because I think 2 years spending in 11th and 12th just at home and not going to school, it kind of made me a very dumb child. And having that 2 year pause from going and interacting with where you have people from all the metropolitans, um, it was a bit of a cultural shock, I think, where I couldn't just make sense of a lot of things in the beginning. And but to answer your question, how I eventually, got on track, well, first was just the taste of reality that I got, the
Mm-hmm.
5 point something CGPA. And then, of course, that was a very heartbreaking moment. And then the second semester commenced. That's when I got up a bit and, kind of started interacting more with people also. First semester, I was a very closed off child. And I think that happens with a lot of other children who are in their first freshman year, basically. And I wish at that time someone had helped me. Of course, some of our Punjabi versus seniors they helped us.
Mm-hmm.
ਆਪਾਂ ਥੋੜੇ ਜਿਹੇ shy ਬੱਚੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਉਸ time. So
Mm-hmm.
and then second semester I got six-ish, and then the second year I got six-ish again. But the second semester of second year I was almost eight. So so there was this to say this, I would say I got comfortable with the environment slowly. In the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, I was not able to make sense of a lot of things, and I think it happens with me even now, where I'm going for something new. Let's say it takes me a while to understand what's happening around. Let's say even my job or something. First of all, I would be very clueless around, but as I keep spending more and more time, I think it's a matter of how comfortable I am in that situation. And being from, I think, a small city, or I think it plays a role in that because if you have a lot of new experiences in your childhood, then you are always up for the challenge, or you don't feel like, oh, this is something new or this is some scary situation. That
Mm-hmm.
happened to me in bits. But slowly I got on track with the
Mm-hmm.
help of different people and was finally able to go close to eight and such numbers.
Yeah, and it's not just about your academic growth. You went on to become the Cordy of Punjabi Visa at that time. So that was another responsibility which you were taking very good care of. And other than that, yeah, I mean, in terms of everything, as I remember, you were very disciplined. You took care of your health well as well, and things were, yeah, you became an inspiration during that time. Like I looked up to you that ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹਾ ਪੜਨਾ ਇਹ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨਾ ਭਾਈ ਮਿਹਨਤ ਤਾਂ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ ਡੀਜੇ ਵਰਗਾ ਬਣਨਾ ਹੈ, ਫਿਰ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਪਸੰਦ ਕਰਨਗੀਆਂ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਡੀਜੇ ਨੂੰ ਕਰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ but yeah.
नहीं.
Okay, and towards the end of your degree, that's the time when we are thinking about, okay, we want to take placement, or even before that, when you decide you want to do a thesis or you want to go for internship, PS2 in our case. How did you decide during that time? Research or placements, internships?
Would extend upon my previous answer where I said that I was pretty clueless about what's happening. Again, I think okay, let's say the amount of knowledge I had, it definitely increased monotonically, whatever. So, but still, I was not at that stage where I could make a conscious decision about such a thing.
Okay.
So, as the events unfolded at that time, I remember I was doing a project with the professor Sarang at BITS, and it was about underwater acoustics or underwater networks, how they operate. You can't use these radio frequency waves through which our phones work, everything works. So you have to use sound waves, acoustic waves, or underwater stuff. And a few professors in our college used to work on that. Then I started working on it, even though I would honestly say that I was not super invested in it because maybe the notion of just doing what is that called, SOP or design project, something like that used to be there, right? I was not very serious about it. Again, because I was very clueless still about such things. Why am I doing this? Even though I was a very good science student back in, school, my teacher can vouch for that. So that cluelessness kind of just got me into that project. And then I just started applying for a thesis when we had our break after 3-1. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I just applied randomly to this. I just searched underwater network professors, something, some Google search, and
Mm-hmm.
it got me to this NUS guy, Mandar Chitre. Um, and he happens to be the top, I would arguably say the best guy in that field in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And he's very enthusiastic about those things also. I just applied to him, sent him an email with my CV, and a conversation kickstarted thanks to him. He replied, and I got it also. When I came to BITS, I realized that two of our seniors had already interned at the same lab in NUS in Singapore. NUS is National University of Singapore. So it was just, I consider it as the biggest coincidence in my life in those years. Just think that I'm randomly applying to someone in
Mm-hmm.
the world, don't even
That's
know
the best
about
thing.
him,
And you, yeah.
and two people had already worked under him. So it kind of gives our college a reputation, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I'm not the first person to go there from
Yeah.
our college. So such a big coincidence. And I think I was done with I got the thesis thing sorted by early Feb 2017. So it was pretty early when a lot of other people were still applying. And I was also paid a stipend. So, in other words, you can say that this thesis path got sorted for me so quickly and easily also. I consider myself as very lucky in that regard, very lucky.
Mm-hmm.
It just got sorted. So I never even thought about the PS option at all because I was thinking that, okay, I am going to Singapore. That's going to be my first ever step out of the country.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to get paid also on top of that. So it was something that nothing short of a stroke of luck, right? So
It was your hard work, man. Yeah, things aligned,
ये
yes.
कह रही है
But
गलत
मन चाहिए ਹੁੰਦਾ मन चाहिए ਹੁੰਦਾ
So yeah, the events lined up in such a manner that I'd never even considered the other option. But in retrospect, I think that I should have thought about that also.
Okay. And are you talking about the summer intern, or was this your thesis? Like how long did
Thesis,
you, okay, how long were you there? Oh yeah, thesis
almost 5 months.
5 months. Okay. And then you came back. Did you think about, okay, now what next? Do I want to try for placements? Do I want to look for further in research opportunities, maybe in the country, outside the country, masters? How was your, yeah, trajectory after that?
Good question. I think after interning with Professor Mandar and his team at the Acoustic Research Laboratory, NUS, I was pretty sure that, okay, I'm just going to go into research because the research culture at this lab was so excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Like the professor and the postdocs, they all had a big influence on me. And quite, I had gone, uh, it had helped me found a very strong opinion about doing research.
Okay.
Yeah, so when I came back, I think, take tests for Texas Instruments and one other company. I got shortlisted, even interviewed with them, but it never got transformed into something more.
Mm-hmm.
So, but because of the experience at the lab, I was, you could say, safely 95% sure that I'm going to go for higher studies. Also, because of the peers at that time. So, I was friends with a lot of people like from Mumbai. Um, Advait, Varad, Soham, all these people. So they were also going for masters. So in a way, I got influenced by them also. So just think of me as someone who has no idea about what's gonna happen in bachelors. So I was just following what people around me were following,
Mm-hmm.
and that played a huge role in what I am today, what I'm doing right now. So
Yes.
yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty nice that it was not like you were waiting to explore other options, and then after 2 to 3 years you think about masters. You almost
Mm,
instantly made your move,
right.
and then it was not just a decent masters. It was one of the best which you got in. How did you get that? It's yeah. We want to know that how to craft your profile, how to choose the course you are going to take, and how many to apply, because it takes money as well to apply, right? So how?
That's a very good question, and something that I would want to help a lot of people who are not at the extreme end of their CGPA, which is like the 9-ish, 10-ish
Yeah.
that I'm talking about, because I was not one of them. I would say it clearly that my CGPA was not my strongest point. Was just, I think, a 7.5 someone, yeah, at that time when I applied. So, in order to apply, I had this thing in my mind that all the other aspects of my profile have to be excellent. My statement of purpose has to be excellent. It has to have a clear message, a very nicely written chronological sequence of steps, and a reason behind doing the masters. And then the GRE score also has to be good. And then the recommendations also have to be good. So just think of it as I was stoically trying to give my best in all the other aspects which I could handle at that time. The CGPA is already done, right? It's accumulated over the last 3 years.
Mhm.
So, ਉੱਥੇ ਆਪਾਂ
कोई जोर नहीं है. हाँ.
so so yeah, and then I did that. I remember how seriously I wrote my SOP also. I took help from even the postdocs at the lab to help me review it and help me find mistakes, improve it, all those things. And they did that also. One simple example is just starting the SOP. Oh, my name is Dhananjai Sharma, blah, blah, blah. Or some people write with some quotes or some story from their past. When I was a child, I was motivated by this, blah, 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 all
Mhm.
those things. My postdoc just took my SOP and just gave a cross. What is this? Just start, I, Dhananjay Sharma, am this, and I want to do masters at your university, and then just start from there. Don't waste the reader's time on
कहानी.
writing that. कहानी ना पाओ.
हाँ.
सिद्धा दसो की करना तुसी, ठीक है?
Keep it real and keep it concise.
Exactly. So I had a very simple one-page SOP, and basically, yeah, I can confidently say that I put in a lot of effort in all the other aspects. Now, talking about the money part, I again would say that I was lucky in that regard, and because I had a stipend from NUS, I was
Mhm.
getting paid for the internship, so I was able to fund the application fee relatively easily because Singapore dollar and US dollar, they're different definitely. US dollar is more higher than Singapore, but still it made it very easy for me to fund my application fee on my own. Now, one thing that played a huge role was, I think, my research at NUS itself. And since my professor is, I would say, a hotshot guy, like he's very good in his field. So
Mhm.
seeing a recommendation from him would have made a big impact, I think. It would not have been possible without this experience at all. I owe so much to that guy. I even meet him like often. I was talking to him a few days ago.
Mhm.
And but talking about how many to apply, I had applied to 8 universities. I only got into CMU, and that was, I
Oh.
consider that again as a big stroke of luck because I think my CGPA was a very downplaying factor.
Mhm.
So, but someone read my story at CMU and got me in. I think, yeah, I consider that as such a big stroke of luck and chance.
That's yeah,
I
that's pretty interesting. Like this was going to be my next question. Were you expecting to get into CMU or other options? But it actually happened the other way. Like you got into CMU, one of the best, and then other options. Yeah, just went.
yeah, yeah. Just imagine that you have applied and then you're getting rejections one by one, and your peers are getting accepted who have higher CGPAs also. Of course, they deserve that. And then you are so getting depressed day by day. I remember I had started applying for internships again at different places, and but then towards the end of March, I had gone for an outing, and then when I came back, I got this letter, and that changed a lot of things for me. So thank God for that.
Nice.
Very grateful.
ये तो प्रॉपर गॉड्स प्लान हो गया कि कुछ पता नहीं है तो एकदम चीजें इन प्लेस पैंदियां जा रही हैं.
Right, right. So yeah, the one thing I would say to every applicant is just put in your best effort and take care of your CGPA. That's
When
the
when you
since
can.
that's accumulative, right? It's more like your health in your life, which accumulates over time.
Mhm.
And so your CGPA also accumulates over time across your 4 years. So it's something that you have to keep taking care of. Don't be lazy. Stay disciplined, stay consistent, do your karma.
Do your karma. And before you moved to US for your masters, you were also doing an internship in IISc as well, right? Please expand a bit on that as well.
So as I said, towards the March end, I had received my decision from CMU, and then that was for actually the spring semester, which starts in January. So March 2018, I got the letter. January 2019, I was supposed to join as a master student. So I had a 5 month gap in between after graduating from BITS, right?
Mm-hmm.
May 2018 to January 2019. So then I just thought, okay, let's see. That was actually a very chill time for my life because I knew that I was supposed to go for masters, and then I had this break also from the 4 years studying.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought, okay, fine. I think I had talked with people like Harsh Maliwal from our batch. He suggested me to apply for, um, I think, some internship. I was also applying for internships until I had my CMU letter. So a professor from IISc replied to me. His name is Aditya Gopalan, and he replied to me. Is everything?
Yeah. Sorry for that.
So he replied to me that okay, fine, we'll do something in the scope of machine learning and stuff, and that got me into machine learning in the first place.
Okay.
Okay, and so yeah, and that also turned out to be a paid internship. I was working as a project assistant at IISc, and 4 months I worked there in Bangalore. That was a very chill time for me, I would say, where I learned things also, and also there was just no pressure on of any sort. And yeah, that's how I got into IISc.
Nice, nice. And okay, after you moved to the US, how? Oh, first of all, major question. How much was the expenditure for your masters, and how did you arrange for the funds?
The expenditure for masters, so per semester, I think you have to take 3 courses, and each course is around 8,000 USD.
Oh,
And
it's per course. It's not
that's
like we paid in bits per semester fee, and then you can.
no, no, no. I think so it used to be that way. So roughly speaking, every semester used to cost 24 to 25K academically, and on top of that, you have your living expenses.
Mhm.
So it was partially funded by an education loan, and partially my parents funded me.
And
And
what was the total? Like,
huh?
how much was the total expense like for the whole masters, including living expense?
I think for the whole master, then it would be around easily 70 to 80 lakhs.
That's yeah.
I never summed it up, but it's a big amount. It's a big amount. So So yeah, partially funded through education loan, partially through the help of parents.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, living expenses, living expenses mainly, I think my parents funded me for the first 4 months, and then I joined as a research assistant with someone. So then I started earning also over there. So my living expenses were kind of sorted for the next 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
So 2019, half of my living expenses were funded by parents, half I funded myself.
Okay.
And then the last semester, there were only 3 semesters, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Last semester, I think my parents funded me again most of the times. And so, yeah,
How many semesters again were in total?
three,
Three.
three. Yeah.
Okay, nice. And then now talking about your life in CMU, how are the challenges there? Now a new life starts after bachelor's, and although you are already well imbibed, I mean, attached to the academic stuff and well accustomed with everything. Now, how this life is going to be? Tell us something about that. Academics and non-academics, both of the lives.
That's a very good question. First, again, as I went into CMU, I got that same cultural shock which I had
Okay.
received in BITS. So it was a much bigger one actually because the academic load was nothing that I had seen before.
Yeah.
And honestly, I was not good at handling stress and anxiety, all those things.
Mm-hmm.
And I also thought that I could handle bigger courses. By bigger, I mean like more complex courses in the first semester itself. So my workload had just been higher than the other people, I would say. So I could just say my courses were computer systems, which is kind of like about computer architecture,
Mm-hmm.
deep learning. Deep learning was still relatively new at that time. So I didn't take a machine learning introductory course, so the deep learning. And then I took a course about network security. So even though I had done an internship about networks in Singapore, network security is something totally different. And I had not considered that. So basically, my choice of courses was not very well informed. And that made my coursework load
Dense.
very, very hard, dense, difficult. So it put a lot of stress on me. I should not have done that in the first semester at all. I wish I had consulted with someone properly and someone had told me at that time that you shouldn't do this in your first semester.
Okay.
So yeah, first semester was tough. I think for the first 3 months, I kind of was on survival mode mostly. My roommates helped me a lot, Chaitanya and Anjandeep. Both are both were smarter than me, still smarter than me, I think. I respect them a lot, and they helped me throughout everything. And but as I got comfortable in CMU in the first semester after 3 months, then I thought, okay, fine, this is not something too hard. I understood how to go through the assignments, how or when to start doing the work, and also started making friends in my own batch. So that made things more tolerable. That brought down the intensity level notch down. And then there was the summer break, yes, after the first semester. So that's when we all kind of joined these different labs in CMU and started getting paid. Then we started enjoying our time over there in the US. Then everything got comfortable. The second semester was my best semester at CMU. First, COVID was not there. It was just about to start in the third one. So no COVID. And I had gotten comfortable in CMU, and my course choice was also very well informed.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing robotics plus some reinforcement learning plus some pattern recognition. So mix of different things. And I joined the CMU Pangra team.
Yeah, yeah, I was
So
there.
that I think made up for the best semester at CMU because I was doing both non-academic and academic activities. And I think I was probably the only one in my master's batch who was doing something non-academic also,
Oh, okay.
uh, on a serious basis. So the CMU Pangra team is not it's like a proper sports team
Mm-hmm.
which practices 3 days or 4 days every week at dedicated times, fixed times. So the schedule and all is everything is preset.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So it's not something optional or recreational. Of
And
course, there's a recreational factor, but yeah, it's more professional.
how many people were in that group? And is everyone from CMU, as the name says, CMU Bangla group, or there were people from other places as well?
Everyone was from CMU.
Okay.
And regarding how many people, so the number of performing people on stage is, I think, around 16. So 8 pairs, you can say. And but overall in the team, I think there would be easily 30, 40 people, I think, because there used to be two teams. One team was for competitive purposes, one was like the pre-competition team, which is still learning basics,
Okay. Okay.
and it's not there at the competitive phase yet. So you can say that the freshmen and the sophomores, they
Mm-hmm.
were in that other team, and the people who are in their third and fourth year are the ones in the competitive team.
Okay. Okay. तेरे ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਕੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਫਿਰ ਚਾਹ ਚੜ ਗਿਆ that I want to go back and watch those videos once again. I will do that after this podcast.
ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕੁੜੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਪਾਓ ਭੰਗੜਾ
Yeah, I remember that particular one. That was nice. And okay, and when you were reaching toward the conclusion of your masters, then this thing of decision comes again. Okay, what do you want to do next? Where do you want to look for the opportunities, research or jobs, or whatever? So, how was the decision thought process then?
That was, I think, again, a very tough phase in my life because COVID was all over the place.
Yeah.
And I had again gone into that clueless phase, you know. And of course, I knew about the companies and all, but I was clueless about how to go about the whole applying process and what does it entail. I
Uh,
had practiced.
I mean, sorry to
Mhm.
interrupt here, but to talk about that pressure as well, like I'm not very sure of how the visa process works in US, but you have only a few months after your master ends to get an opportunity, and then you have that heavy loan on your head for which you would
Yeah.
to live in the US and earn there so as to pay
Mhm.
that off. And
Right.
yeah, that adds to the stress a lot, and in that kind of situation. So how was the please also tell us how was the visa situation? Did you get some kind of relief given that the COVID situation is going on? And yeah, how much time did you have to look for it, the opportunities?
There was no relief, first of all, of any sort. And I would say that I had a backup option where, so you have, I think, around 60 or 90 days after your graduation or something,
Mm-hmm.
where you have to get something. So I thought, okay, fine. If I don't get something, then towards the end, I'll just, not towards the end, towards the beginning of that period itself, I had talked with the same professor I was working in the previous summer
Okay.
that, hey, I would like to join your lab as a full-time research assistant and not doing it part-time. So there was that backup option in my mind. I sorted that first,
Mm-hmm.
but there was a lot of pressure, to be honest, and I would not want to go into anything like that again.
Mm.
And so sort your backup option first. And the other important thing was to keep in touch with people in your batch. So because of COVID, everyone was just siloed.
Mm.
And I think I was more siloed because I am not someone who goes actively out to talk to people generally.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more like a personality flaw, you could say. And so I got even more siloed and I had to shift houses also. So my two roommates, my two smart roommates, one of them had early graduated. He's at NVIDIA.
Okay.
So, and the other one, yes, that was the point.
Yeah.
And the other one had, I think, joined a startup also. So Chaitanya, so he had also shifted to another house. I had gotten new roommates in the middle of everything which was happening. So
Mhm.
shifted houses in the peak of the COVID thing, and so yeah, new people to interact with. Although they were from the same batch, we knew each other, but didn't know each other.
Mhm.
And but I was again very less informed about okay how to go about the whole process since it's so hard to reach out to companies. Companies were canceling interviews and were just not replying anymore because they were saving their budget for what was about to come, right?
Mhm.
And then some of my batchmates they started procuring offers from the likes of Apple and Amazon, and that made me think that okay, what am I not doing that they are doing,
Mhm.
right? Why am I behind, even though I think we have done roughly the same coursework? And I think I was decently good at DSA and all those things. I had made some open source software contributions also.
Okay.
So I was just thinking what is lacking in my case.
Mhm.
Biggest thing was for me again, not reaching out enough,
Okay.
not putting myself out there. So my other friends, they were constantly messaging recruiters on LinkedIn despite the whole COVID situation. So they were smart in that even though you could not reach out physically, you could just keep pinging them on LinkedIn. I was not doing that. And I think that was dumb on my part. Again,
That was like the
I
easiest thing. Like you've done all the manual
exactly,
tasks already. Yeah.
exactly. So I think I'm still learning these things. I'm not good at them. I'm not good at reaching out and all those things very much. So yeah, I would recommend anyone who is in this kind of a situation to reach out as much as possible. And
Mhm.
that got me calls also. So I did interview with certain companies. I had an offer from a US startup also. And but this one was for an autonomous driving firm,
Mhm.
which was something that I wanted to work on. So, and since I had lived in Singapore also in the past, I thought, okay, let's do this. So
Okay.
I got that you could say I think people don't want to leave US if they are there.
Mhm.
So, but I made that plunge, you could say,
Yeah.
and I think I'm very happy for that decision
Okay.
because I've created a life of my own over here. So yeah,
Yeah, that's you're probably the only one who I know took this journey, like who already has an option to stay back, but no, he decides to work on, okay, I like this thing better and I will live in Singapore. But this brings me to this question, if I can roughly talk about how much someone can earn in US, in Singapore, in terms of because you also have to pay off the loan. How much do the packages compare, given talking about the taxes as well? In the end,
mm.
how much can you save up? How's that?
Singapore has very low tax. There is no capital gain. Their corporate tax, I think, one of them is not there at all. So
Yeah.
the companies don't have to pay as much to the government. Okay, so tax-wise, US and Singapore are totally different. I would say one is on the other extreme.
Mhm.
And so I think the tax that one would pay in Singapore initially, with let's say a salary of maybe 100K or something, it goes into the bracket of 10%, just
Okay.
9 or 10%. So
Hmm.
that's pretty less, I would say, as compared to US.
Yeah.
Living cost wise, Singapore is gonna be comparable with California and New York.
It's that expensive. Okay.
Singapore is top three most expensive cities ever
Yeah,
here.
yeah, I've heard that, but I forgot. It's.
So it's an expensive place, definitely.
Hmm.
Um, but to compare the salaries overall, I would say I think overall in US, definitely one would be earning more
Hmm.
if we just did a raw conversion of things. Okay.
Okay.
And then you also have, yeah, I would say that definitely. What else should I say about this?
Okay.
So yeah.
So you've lived in India, US, and Singapore, these three countries, or you've also had experiences of spending some time in other countries as well?
My sister lives in Australia. So last year and this year, I spent 3 weeks in each time
Mm-hmm.
while working remotely.
Okay.
So I was in Sydney last year for 3 weeks, Sydney this year for 3 weeks. So yeah, that's the mini experience I've had from working from another nation.
Okay. If you had to compare life, considering all the basic factors somebody would want to, between US, Singapore, India, and Australia, can you show us some interesting differences and your personal preferences? Which place do you like better for what?
India is definitely going to be more dynamic, I think,
Mm-hmm.
because India just has that, picture of different colors and there's so much happening at a time. Whereas US and Australia, I would put them in a separate bracket.
Okay.
Australia, especially, Australia values work-life balance much more, I think. Things close off at 5 p.m. and people are rushing for their grocery shopping at 6
Mm-hmm.
because everything closes down very early.
Yeah.
So Australia is you would say, you have more time to yourself in Australia and much less noise. If you want a quiet, peaceful life, then I think Australia would be better in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
And then comes the US. US also has different kinds of places. If you are in New York City, the lifestyle is different as compared to if you're living in the suburbs. So, but still, I put US and Australia together,
Okay.
um, mainly because of the excess usage of cars to go around.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something that I found very similar in both US and Australia, that you can't, or it would be hard for you to go around if you didn't have a car.
Mm-hmm.
Now comes Singapore. Singapore is totally different. Arguably, it has the best public transport in the world. Like any country you can compare, any city you can compare, this city will win out of in the public transport game. Excellent buses, excellent trains. So you can go anywhere easily, and the maximum price I pay to go anywhere is like $2 or $3. So very cheap.
That's nice. Yeah.
So, and Singapore is very vibrant also. It has a blend of different cultures, different religions. Like you can find any religion over here, and you can learn so much from different people, and they are all living in harmony with each other without fighting or anything. I think that speaks volumes about the kind of culture that this country wants to build. And I think this country knows how to play the right game while having different kinds of people together. That's why I've been here so far.
Okay, so now we know about your journey in the professional front. Now, I would like to specifically talk about your personal life a little bit. In general, how does your normal day looks like, and yeah, what do you like to do in your free time? What are your hobbies? About that.
Um, Recently I've been trying to be more disciplined with doing things like yoga and strength training, mobility, these things. So I've been doing that every morning. Today was the 20th day,
Mm-hmm.
and I plan to do this for, I
Ever.
don't know. I don't feel like doing it on almost every day, but
Mhm.
it's something that I'm trying to do. It's hard. It's not, it just, I want to take it to a stage where it just happens automatically, like brushing your teeth,
Yeah.
because I think these things are important, especially the pranayam part of the
Mm-hmm.
yogic practice, where you do things like Anulom Vilom or Kapalbhati. I think they have done wonders to me in the last 20 days. I see so much change in my concentration also at work, and even throughout the day my brain isn't tired because there is so much influx of oxygen in the beginning of the day
Mm-hmm.
that I can get things done quickly and with a lot less stress. So this is something that I would recommend to anyone, especially our age group,
Mm-hmm.
because the stress levels of our age group people are unprecedented, I think, as compared to the last 20 years or so.
Yeah.
uh, so after that, I just get ready for work. I try to go around, let's say, 11 or something. I have a lot of flexibility in that regard. but sometimes it depends on the meeting. Luckily, I don't have any morning meetings,
Mm-hmm.
and I try to go around 11 or something, and then I just come back around 7 or 8. So I try to cook also before going for work. Maybe I should start posting that like you also.
Yeah, yeah, please do. Así.
So generally, it's I try to cook something with paneer and vegetables of
Mm-hmm.
different kinds, with some kind of wrap and yogurt. And yeah, just working. I like to take a walk also in between work, especially after lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to have my lunch without any phone or anything these days, so that I can just spend time with my thoughts to clear up my brain. And once I come back, just prepare an oatmeal and then um, maybe call my parents or do something else, or maybe go out with some friends.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, before sleeping, again, I try to do a couple of things like washing utensils and all those chores, and trying to read a book every night before sleeping, and trying to leave the phone away
Yeah.
uh, before the bedtime. I try to put it on my table away from my sight. That's something that works wonders for me also. If the phone is out of sight, I just magically forget about it.
Yeah.
I don't think about it. Even if it's behind my laptop, I just wouldn't remember it where it is. So
That's
yeah, roughly that's what my day looks like.
yeah. And in terms of challenges, like we all have some kinds of tough times in our lives. You've talked about a few in this podcast itself. Uh, how do you deal with them? Like, are there any those kind of phases when you feel like drained or depressed, or maybe a degree of that? How do you deal with it?
That's a very good question. I think since I live by myself here, you also live by yourself. I would want to ask you the same question later. It can get maybe a bit lonely, or yeah, lonely is the right word sometimes. And then I think the best way to deal with that is first of all acknowledging it. That is the step one. And then step two and so on are just about what are you going to do about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the biggest challenge when you're living by yourself. Make friends, join activities. So for the first almost 1.5/2 years, things were quite restricted here because of COVID. Singapore took its time to open things slowly, and but once it opened, I joined like physical activities, joining a gym. Last year, I made the decision to join a public speaking community, Toastmasters. I
Yeah.
think you've heard of it.
You told me
So,
about it that Tareja, at least go do this thing. Yeah.
so yeah, I think that community has had a huge impact on me since the beginning of 2023. I joined in January last year, and I made some friends over there who I have even gone out to Bali with. So, and some friends have even met my parents while my parents came here. So, I would say to anyone who is facing any sort of challenge while, so this question is particularly to people like us, right, who are living, let's say, abroad, away
Yeah,
from
but
home.
in general as well, like every
Right.
sometimes falls into depression, and a lot of times they do not know how to come out of it, how to deal with
Mhm.
it. So yeah, because you've come this far in life, sorted a lot of things by yourself, so you can guide us.
Understood, understood. Okay. I think, yeah, first of all, having friends is the biggest asset that you can have. And those friends have to be your support system. They shouldn't be just, yeah, गल्ला मार लिया जी, ठीक है. They should actively, you should actively be willing to listen to them, and they should listen to you, so that there should be two-way communication. Have a good relation with your parents also, because the your parents will, I think they have the power to guide you morally,
Hmm.
what's right, what's wrong, those kinds of things. Um, Friends, parents, having good hobbies, having a routine helps so much. For me, especially, I think having this morning activity every day, it's seeping into different aspects in my life also slowly
Mm-hmm.
because I'm adding more structure in my day. There's this fixed thing which happens for at least 1 hour, and having a solid routine, do something enjoyable despite the challenges in your life. You
Yeah.
you shouldn't have to punish you shouldn't be punishing yourself for anything, but do share it with someone you have to share it with. If you keep it within yourself, then it's just gonna keep creating a lot of negative energy. It
Mm-hmm.
happened with me also, like about a month ago, where I was, I think, having a lot of stress from for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And then my friend just called me and I shared it with him, and he just said, okay, let's go out for drinks or something. So that's why I'm saying having friends is very important. So to anyone who is going through a tough phase, I go through challenges almost every day, yeah. So even you go through them. So whenever I get sad or something, I even though those feelings are very overpowering, it's important to keep giving yourself some dose of positive self-talk.
Mm-hmm.
Something you have to give to yourself, or
या
just
फिर
go out in
या फिर दिलजीत द कॉन्सर्ट हुआ हो
दिल्ली ਦੇ ਕਨਸਰਟ ਹੋਆ ਵਾ ਨੱਚਦੀ ਹੈ ਸੋਹਣੀ ਬੁੱਟੇ ਯਾਰ ਸ਼ੋਲਡਰ ਚੱਕ ਚੱਕ ਕੇ
Yeah, yeah.
so so yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it has been a very fruitful discussion. I myself did not know a few things about you, which I came to know in this podcast itself, and a lot of things. This podcast is probably the longest podcast I have ever recorded, and it has been very refreshing to talk to you. As every time when I even talk to you on call, we usually have long calls because we talk catch up after a long time. So yeah, I would like to thank you for making up time. We have been trying to get you on our podcast for a long time, but now only we could do this. But yeah, before I thank you and conclude this one, I would like to share a few things with the audience. The things which I love about Dhananjay the बुलांदा ही नहीं था DJ is that this guy is very pure. A lot when you go out in the world, there are very few people who you not do not find cunning, calculative, or would be not saying what they are thinking. This guy is very pure. मतलब इसते ਇਹਦੇ दिल ते मैल चढ़िया ही नहीं है पता नहीं क्या करा है। मतलब hats off to the upbringing which you have and being with like being pure, I remember our interactions have mostly been around whenever I make a leap in my career, whenever I do something good. I know I do get your message of appreciation. This time, last time when I did a career switch and whatever the progress I was doing, I knew that okay, when I share this on LinkedIn, धनंजय ना हुन गाल होएगी, हुन message आएगा, मतलब I'm not I really appreciate having people like you in my life who actually push me forward. And this is not just the appreciation. There have been times in college as well when I have not been doing the best things, and he would be upfront about it. And would be, "Ranjit, this is not what you should be doing. थोड़ा जा ध्यान रख ला ऐसा ना कर." And I really appreciated the honesty and the push and the appreciation. So thanks for everything, DJ, not just for this podcast.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, and I could say the same for you. Actually, I think I have been super proud of you because I think we lost touch after the bachelor's for a while. And then I just saw that you were working at Razorpay, I think,
Yeah.
which speaks volumes about the amount of growth you have brought in your own life. And then taking the next step when going to Germany, um, I think hats off to you, man. I don't know how did you manage to do all these things.
With that kind of CGPA. No,
Not just the CGPA that is there, but everything, because I think we lost touch in between. So whenever we catch up physically the next time, I would definitely want to go in the depths of these things. Maybe I could be podcasting you at that time. So, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of things, as you said, in my life as well, fell in place. I did work towards them, but a lot of things went like in the best direction by themselves as they could. So yeah, pretty happy at where we are both today, and ਰੱਬ ਕਰੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੋਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਚੜ੍ਹਦੀਆਂ ਕਲਾਂ 'ਚ ਰੱਖੇ ਤੇ
बिल्कुल जी, बिल्कुल.
yeah, meet you soon. Enjoy your weekend. Thanks again. Bye.
Thank you, Abhinav. Bye bye.
Bye.